Hey fam, welcome back to Tara's Lifestyle and Vlog, and thank you so much for stopping by. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 things you must know or do before you decide to move to the UK. Okay, but before I go on, my name is Tara, and on this channel we talk about UK visas and immigration. We talk about life in the UK, how to safely and successfully travel to the UK, and how to navigate through life as an immigrant living in the UK. Now, if this sounds like something you're interested in, then please subscribe, turn on your bell icon so you don't miss out on any of my videos going forward. To my returning subscribers, thank you all so much for always coming back to watch my videos. I appreciate every single one of you. So if you're thinking of coming to the UK, relocating to the UK, then there are some things that you definitely need to know. And I'm saying this because I've been in the UK for a few years, and recently so many things have come to my attention which actually bothers me, and I thought I would speak to you about it. Okay, so there are a few things like I said before, but today we're talking about 5 of them which I think is really important. And the first one on my list is your accommodation. Okay, so if you're coming to the UK, however you're coming, whether through student means or through dependent or through work visa, spouse visa, whatever the category of visa you have that you're using to come to the UK, you need to make sure that you sort out your accommodation. Now, for someone that's coming on a spouse visa, if you genuinely have a spouse in the UK, then it will be easier for you because your spouse will already have an accommodation, a home for you to come to. Okay, but it's not the same thing if you are coming as a student or if you're coming for a work visa and things like that. So you want to make sure that you sort out your accommodation. Okay, where are you going to be staying when you come to the UK? Are you going to be renting an apartment? Are you going to be staying with friends and family? Okay, if you're going to be staying with friends and family, how genuine is your relationship? Are you close to this person? Because recently we've had situations whereby people come to the UK thinking that they're going to stay with their friends and family. Unfortunately, they get to the UK and the numbers are turned off. Yes, so imagine coming all the way from Africa or wherever you're coming from. You get to the country, you call the person that you're supposed to be staying with, and they're not reachable. You can imagine how frustrated and how stranded you'll be. So you want to make sure you sort out your accommodation. If you know someone, you can get them to help you find accommodation and pay for it before you come to the UK. It's really important. If it's a close family member, fair enough, then you might be able to stay with them for a bit, and that's fine. But if it's just a friend, because we know that everyone has their own issues, some people will tell you they will be able to accommodate you when truly they don't even intend to accommodate you in the first place. Okay, so we need to be careful. If you have a family member, that's fine, they can accommodate you. If you have a friend that you're really close to, they can accommodate you, but you want to be sure that there is definitely a place for you when you come to the UK so you don't get stranded. Because like I said, a few people have been in this position. Some people will eventually stay in the Airbnb, so have that as an option. So if you have someone you're staying with or you think you're going to be staying with, also have a backup plan. If the person doesn't come to pick you up from the airport, or if their phones are not turned on, okay, have a backup plan. So you can stay in an Airbnb for the night or for a few days, or you can stay in a hotel, whatever. Just make sure you have a backup plan. Have some money that you can use to accommodate yourself when you come to the UK, at least for the first few days before you sort yourself out. Okay, so the second one I'm going to talk about is a job. Okay, so if you're coming to the UK, especially as on a work visa, you want to make sure that there's work waiting for you. Okay, you want to make sure there's work waiting for you. However, I know that that's not always the case because some people come to the UK on a dependent visa. Okay, and if you come to the UK on a dependent visa, it means that there's no job waiting for you. You have to come to the UK and apply for jobs. Also, if you're a student, you know that as a student, you are able to do 20 hours of work during term time. Okay, and then obviously more than 20 hours during the holidays. Okay, so when you come to the UK, you will also need to find a job for yourself. The one thing I'm going to say is, if you're coming on a work visa, make sure there's a work for you when you come. And if you don't have a job, if you're coming on a dependent visa, on a spouse visa or a student visa, know that it doesn't happen overnight. There's a process, and this process is what many people are not aware of. Okay, people think that once they come to the UK, they get a job immediately. No, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. There's a process to it. For everything in the UK, there is a process, and I think it will be the same for other countries as well. You have to apply for jobs. You need to find a job that you'll be qualified for. You need to apply for the job. You need to attend interviews. Once you've attended interviews, they need to do your ID checks, and this is timing. It doesn't happen overnight. They'll do DBS checks for you and all of that, and this could take weeks, and for some people it could even take months. Okay, so I know that people expect that once they come, things happen and they start working immediately, and when it doesn't happen that way, they got frustrated. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, don't set your expectations too high, and be patient with the system, be patient with the process, because it takes time for all this to happen. The other thing I'm going to talk about, the third one, is your connection, your network. So when you're coming from Nigeria or from Africa or any other country, you are leaving your connection, you are leaving your family, your friends behind to start a new life in the UK. Okay, so be aware of that. Don't think that when you come, you're going to just continue where you start. It might take some time before you meet people, before you make friends. And sometimes people don't even want to make friends with you because they've got so many issues going on. People are busy. The last thing on their mind is to connect. So you as a person, you want to intentionally make friends. You want to intentionally go to places where you can meet people and make friends and build your own community. Because if you don't, you're going to find out that you become so lonely, alone, and you know what happens, especially when you're coming from a place that's busy to a place that is so quiet and that you're alone. A lot of people have become depressed and have suffered mental health breakdown because they are not able to cope with the difference in the lifestyle. It's a completely different lifestyle, because where you are coming from, you're busy, you have family, you can go out to visit people, and when you come to the UK, you are all on your own. Okay, so it's completely different lifestyle, different culture, so they are not able to cope, and they've had mental breakdown, depression, and all of that. So you need to be aware that it's completely different culture. You need to build your connection, you need to build a community for yourself and live the life that you want. The fourth thing I'm going to talk about is your bills. Okay, so when you move from whatever country, say for instance you move from Nigeria, I use Nigeria as an example because that's where I come from. If you move from Nigeria to the UK and start staying in your accommodation, and let's assume that you already have your accommodation planned and all of that, okay, you're going to start paying bills from the beginning. Okay, so once the time of the month reach for you to pay your bills, no one is going to wait for you. You have to pay. So if for any reason you haven't started working, you still need to pay your bills. So you need to make sure that you have, again, a backup plan that will help you pay your bills. Okay, so it's really important that you pay your bills. Otherwise, if it's your house rent, you could be kicked out of your apartment. If it's your gas and electricity, the bailiffs could come to your apartment. So everything is structured. When it comes to bills, the money gets taken out of your bank account by direct debit. So no one is going to tell you. It's all so ordered and structured. You have to pay your bills. There's no argument about that. So it's really important that you know it. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to talk about is the weather. So you need to prepare yourself for the weather because it's completely different. Where I come from in Nigeria, the weather is very warm and nice and lovely. But here in the UK, the majority of the time, I think 6 months of the year, the weather is cold. And for some part of the year, I think about 3 months or so, it's dark, mostly dark. So you have like maybe 6 or 8 hours of daylight, and the rest of the time, 8 hours is even more. Say from 11 o'clock till about 4 o'clock. About 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours of daytime, and the rest of the time it's dark, like pitch black. Okay, so you need to be aware of that before you come to the UK and kind of readjust your mind to be able to cope. Because if you don't readjust your mind, like I said before, it's easy for people to fall into depression because the weather is cold. It affects your mood, whether you like it or not. Even I personally have been affected, still being affected by it, even as we speak. Even though I've been in the UK for so many years, when it gets to winter, when it gets to the dark months, when it gets to the cold months, everyone's mood changes. Okay, so you need to find a way to help yourself. Okay, you want to expose yourself to as much daylight as possible. Even though there's only very few hours, you need to get yourself out there. It's going to be cold as well, so you need to be able to manage. Some people buy something called an SOD lamp. Okay, that helps to mimic the sunshine. Okay, just to make you feel like, okay, you're actually under the sun, but it's just the light that's helping you do that. So there are different ways that people can cope. Okay, but it's important that you know that the weather is completely different. So when you see people wearing jackets, it's because it's really cold. But apart from the cold, it affects your mood as well. So you need to be aware of that before you move to the UK. So these are so important. Okay, especially for the accommodation. I've seen people that are living in places whereby they have to pay like 3 or 4 times the amount that they normally should pay. Okay, just because they haven't made that preparation before coming to the UK. And there's someone I know that the person that he was supposed to be staying with just didn't turn on their phone. Okay, so it's important that we make this arrangement, be aware of these things before you actually think of moving to the UK. Make your plans, prepare yourself before you come over. Okay, but this is just a quick and short one. I hope it's been helpful. If it has helped you, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends and family, and of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.